What one sees as a curse, another sees as a blessing. My name's JR, and this is Warframe, built to destroy. Hey, what's up, pups? It's JR, and welcome back to another episode of Built to Destroy. You know the drill, I got a few things I'd like to say. This time, however, it might get pretty lengthy, so if you're not a frequent viewer of my content and are just looking for an idea on how to build the weapon this episode is about, you might want to skip to this timestamp. The first things being VR related, namely what you're hearing right now. I got a lavalier microphone, aka the microphones that you clip onto your shirt collar and they're like super convenient and everything, so ideally, my audio quality has gone up quite a lot. I do know there's a pretty noticeable echo when I'm speaking normally, but I'm not entirely sure if the microphone will pick that up or not. Hopefully not, I don't know. If so, I can handle that. It's easy. I hope that sounds a lot better than my headset's microphone, because I have pretty much no idea how it will actually sound, because the way I had to set up everything to get the mic to work was really awkward. The second thing being that I am currently in the process of rigging another new avatar. I swear this is the last time I'll be switching my main avatar. If you watched my behind the scenes episode of VRChat all the way through, odds are you might remember that there was one main avatar that I wanted before I ended up finding and rigging a different one, being this one. Ever since I found and rigged the other Mangle models, I always kind of regretted not going with this one, aka the one I originally wanted. So I've decided that I'm actually going to go back, get that model, and rig that one for myself. Funnily enough, when I was looking for the original model to be able to make an avatar with that model, I found out that the person who made this model is also the same person who made this model. So I just want to say real quick, trainee cross on DeviantArt, I appreciate you. Nextly, I wanted to talk a little bit about Ruby. No, not that Ruby. This Ruby. I feel like I haven't mentioned her a lot in my recent videos, which I probably should, given all of the new people who are coming around and subscribing. So for those of you who don't know, Ruby is a mascot I made for the channel. But JR, what does a red-haired anime girl have to do with your channel? Well, nothing really. Only thing about Ruby that relates to my channel is the fact that she's supposed to be a vampire. You know, because vampire bat, you get the idea. I never really actually said Ruby was a vampire, but it was kind of hinted by her reddish pink eyes, the little bat ornament in her hair, and the fact she has fangs. Yeah, that wasn't just a little anime trope I threw in to make her more kawaii or whatever. There's actually a reason for that. Anyway, the main reason I wanted to bring up Ruby was regarding fan art. In the past, there has been some confusion regarding Ruby's gender and whether or not it was just supposed to be like my online persona or something. So I'd like to clear that up. Ruby is female, and no, she's not supposed to be me or my online persona or anything. She's just a character I created. I wanted to bring this up due to some recent fan art I got of Ruby. First off, I want to say I really loved the picture. It's just there was one little specific detail that I caught that kind of threw me off, and that was the fact that Ruby had an Adam's apple. I'm sure most of you know that pretty much only men have Adam's apples, or at least visible ones. It is true that women still have the thing in their neck that Adam's apples come from, but it is much smaller than it is in men, to the point that it is almost not visible in most all women. So given the fact that Ruby had an Adam's apple in the fan art, I interpreted that the artist didn't know that Ruby was female, and I felt like I should bring that up for fan artists down the line. But like I said, I still really enjoyed the art. It was just that one little aspect that caught my attention. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say on the matter. If you want to submit fan art for me to feature in a video at some point, make sure to send it to me on Twitter or in the hashtag fanart section of the Discord. Links for both of these are always in the description of my videos. Also, if you need to know anything regarding what you're drawing for me, don't be afraid to get in contact with me and ask. I draw a bit myself, so I know how helpful little tidbits of information can be sometimes. The best place to do this would be through Discord, because I can reply the easiest and the fastest there. I will still most likely reply to DMs on Twitter, but I'm not actively on Twitter a large portion of the time, so odds are you will get a response, but it will take a while. With all that out of the way, let's get to the actual video. As most of you probably know, a little while ago, DE revisited the various beam weapons in Warframe and gave them all a good old tweak. I was never too big into using beam weapons in Warframe, so at the time of the update, I wasn't too excited about it. I also didn't really know exactly what the tweak brought, other than something to do with how beam weapons proc and take damage. Pretty much the only thing I knew for sure was that people were using Ignis and Phage a lot more, and everyone and their grandmother wanted a Flux rifle ribbon. While everyone was ranting and raving about how much they loved their Amprex or Phage or Ignis Wraith, I was still just over here like, yeah, Grimlock's pretty cool. Yeah, that's, Despite the fact that the meta seems to have changed off of shotguns and maiming strike for a solid 17 hours, I still wasn't all too enthralled about the new changes to beam weapons. However, one sortie later, I received a ribbon for a certain weapon, but I still didn't use it all that much. But then, several sorties later, my brother received a ribbon for that same weapon, but this time, it was God tier. Bear witness to Synapse.
We are the Undead.
Synapse is an infested beam rifle sporting 20 base corrosive damage with a base 39% crit chance, 2.7 times crit damage, and a 13% status chance, making it an alright status weapon, but a monstrous crit weapon. Another bonus comes from Synapse being pure corrosive damage, so right out of the box it has an advantage against all of the Grineer bullet sponges. But another cool thing about Synapse being corrosive damage specifically is its base damage is a combo elemental. So, if you want to build it that way, you can actually give it 3 different elements. Personally, I went with just making it corrosive and viral for what I hope are very obvious reasons. Pretty much everything about Synapse can be considered a plus, right down to the fact that it is a pure elemental damage crit weapon with a consistent fire rate, so it can take heavy advantage of Hunter munitions. If you don't know what Hunter munitions is, I'd advise watching my BTD on Leica. I go pretty in depth on how it works. Now, let's take a look at my ribbon. Synapse Geli Crititus adds 189.5% more crit chance, 121.5% cold damage, and 139.1% more crit damage, while unfortunately reducing the status duration by 104.7%, which doesn't affect the corrosive procs, but it does affect the viral and slash procs. Which, now that I'm looking at it, this ribbon isn't exactly god tier. Well, at least if you want to go with a Hunter Munitions build. Which, I'm going to go switch out Hunter Munitions for Prime Shred real quick. BRB. Okay, so I just realized to be able to put on Prime Shred instead of Hunter Munitions in my Synapse, I'm gonna have to former it one more time, and I'm out of formers for now, so fuck me, I guess. Given that fact, the final damage and DPS of this build are going to be if Primed Shred was on instead of Hunter Munitions. Anyway, on to my build, I guess. I have Synapse Geli Crititus, Serration, Split Chamber, Infected Clip, and Cryo Rounds, increasing my overall damage and adding viral damage to the mix. Then, Synapse Geli Crititus, Point Strike, and Vital Sense, increasing my crit capability. And finally, Primed Shred, increasing my fire rate to 18.6 and adding 2.2 meters of punch through. With this build, and my ribbon specifically, Synapse gets up to 6,430 average overall damage and 119,603 DPS. So, let's see what Synapse can do. That's going to wrap up this episode of Built to Destroy. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like, and make sure to hit that subscribe button to become a pup if you haven't already. Also, if you want to support me in the channel, consider becoming a patron for as low as $1 a month. My name's JR, and I'll see you guys in the next one.